Babe Ruth ended the 1919 season with a Major League record 29 home runs in just 130 games played, something he accomplished at the end of the dead ball era. After breaking the record, Ruth set his sights on 50 for the 1920 season, a goal that sensible folks just laughed at. But in the end, Ruth had the last laugh. After all, this was the Colossus of Clout, the Big Bam, the King of Crash. And with the help of some rule changes, Ruth would single-handedly usher in the live ball era. But it wouldn't be with the Red Sox, because on January 5th, the Red Sox sold Ruth to the Yankees for $100,000, something we can safely say was the biggest mistake in baseball history. Before we continue, let's just quickly recap what Ruth did with the Red Sox in just 5 short, full seasons. As a pitcher, I've determined that he would have won Rookie of the Year in 1915, and that he would have just narrowly edged out Walter Johnson for the Cy Young Award in 1916. And as a two-way player, he would have captured the MVP in both 1918 and 1919. Of course, I've made these decisions based on modern standards, so take it for what it is. Well, back to the deal. When I was doing some research on this issue, I discovered that Ruth actually didn't want to go to the Yankees. That was something I've never heard my entire life. But both of these newspaper clippings attest to the fact that Ruth said it's either the Red Sox or nothing. And you can't blame him. They had won the World Series 3 times in his 5 full seasons there. But eventually Ruth caved and he got a nice raise for doing so. His salary jumped from $10,000 to $20,000, and that $20,000 made him the highest paid player in baseball, along with Ty Cobb and Tris Speaker. I found this final clip really interesting because it actually notes that in 1919, Ruth hit 31 home runs, but 2 of them were walk-off shots, and because of the rules back then, they only counted as doubles. Well, off to the 1920 season. The American League was dominated by Ruth, George Sisler, and Tris Speaker. And Ruth just crushed it in category after category. And it's really interesting to see that Sisler came in second in category after category. Ruth led the league in home runs and RBIs, and Sisler led the league hitting .407. It would be the first of 2 times that he hit the 400 mark. When you look at their slash lines, it's pretty interesting to see that Speaker wasn't too far behind. He hit .388, and he had an on-base percentage of .483, both good for second in the league. These were 3 outstanding seasons by 3 outstanding players. And here's something really crazy. They finished 1, 2, 3, meaning Ruth, Sisler, Speaker, in 11 different categories. And they also finished Ruth, Speaker, Sisler in 4 other categories. When we talk about the hitters in 1920, we're really just talking about Ruth, Sisler, and Speaker. And here's why I want to talk about Tris Speaker. In 1920, he hit 50 doubles. In fact, this guy was just a doubles machine. He was the first player to hit the 50 mark twice, and for his career, he did it 5 times. In fact, Speaker is the MLB leader in doubles with 792. He's followed by a couple guys named Rose, Musial, and Cobb. And then there's George Sisler. In 1920, Sisler had 257 hits. It was a record that stood for 84 years, eventually toppled in 2004 by Ichiro Suzuki, who had 262 hits. But Sisler wasn't done. He also had 41 3-hit games, a major league record that still stands today. In most seasons, Sisler's accomplishments would have been more than enough to capture the MVP award. But this was 1920, and this was the Babe's year. Before the season began, he said he was shooting for 50, and he ended up totaling 54. This was such a ridiculous number that the runner-up in all of Major League Baseball was Sisler with 19. And to show how crazy this number was, Ruth actually out-homered every team in Major League Baseball except for the Philadelphia Phillies, who hit 64. This was one of Ruth's all-time great seasons, and he set career bests in slug, OPS, and OPS plus. I mean, he almost had an OPS of 1,400. That is just crazy. So I think we can safely say that the AL MVP award 1920 goes to none other than Ruth. Well, I hope you liked the video, and if you do me a favor, subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. Thanks for watching.